All right, so somebody told me in the comments below on one of these videos that there were two new Where Is Everybody films, and as a huge fan of them, I immediately jumped on both of them. Now, the first one they showed me, or shouldn't I say showed me, but put me on to,
Spoke to you about.
um, I ended up loving that movie, which was Alone with You. Go check it out. But it was not really a Where Is Everybody movie. I guess I could see why they would think that, but that's not really the kind of film it is. But Arctic Void, on the other hand, is most definitely a Where Is Everybody film. So they were dead on that one. So thank you to that commenter for bringing both of those to our attention. So let's talk about Arctic Void, which, as I said, is a Where Is Everybody movie. What is a Where Is Everybody movie, might you ask, Kaylee? Well, it's a movie where people are asking,
Where is everybody?
where are
Where
they?
is everyone?
So these two friends are, they run a show,
A travel
a travel
show.
show, and they are out in this remote area, and they're going to be filming an episode, and they bring in this new cameraman because they couldn't get their other one, and one friend is kind of carefree and like, oh, well, it'll just work out. We'll figure it out. And the other one's more anal about everything and is like very hyper specific and stressed out, and you know the characters. And they get on this little vessel, this boat, this cruise. It's not a big ship. It's a small ship with maybe 15 other people. And while they're on that boat, something happens and everyone vanishes, and they're trying to figure it out. Which is, the premise of most of these Where Is Everybody movies, like Phantoms or The Langoliers or Don't Blink or whatever. In which all of those I'm a big fan of. This one, on the other hand, I'm not a big fan of, and the reason is because basically nothing happens in the end of this movie.
Yeah.
Now, something happens at the very end, so I don't want to be that person who's like, well, nothing happened. Technically, something happens is always the case, but very little. How about very little? So they had the intriguing setup. They had characters that I was mostly into and was like, all right, I'll follow these guys along for the journey. But here's my biggest issue with the movie. Everything that I liked about this movie was already given to me from the concept that they've taken from other films, right? So you have the setup, which is they're going somewhere, right? That's Phantoms, that's The Langoliers, that's Don't Blink. That's pretty much every Where Is Everybody movie ever made. Vanishing on 7th Street, doesn't matter. For the most part, they're almost, or after, where they're on the bus. They're always going somewhere, right? And then something happens, and when they get to town, everyone's missing. Radius. Doesn't matter. They're always traveling somewhere, and then everyone vanishes, which immediately gets intrigue. And that's the whole premise. So that premise is handed to this film. Like, all right, set up your people, they're going somewhere, the people vanish, and then from there, it's all you. Basically, everything up to that point, you're borrowing. You know this part. We all know this setup, right? So when you get here, they're successful in getting us from point A to the middle point B, and from B on is them and what they need to bring new to the subgenre, right? Because all this stuff before is kind of just, it's by the numbers. It's everything we've seen before, but I like that setup. So I'm along for the ride because I'm like, it's familiar to me, and I'm like, all right, here we go. All right, we got the guys that are traveling. We're introducing the characters and what their point is and what they're doing, and then we get to the Where Is Everybody, and this is where we now pass it over to them as the storytellers to be like, all right, what do you have to offer us now? Now that we're at this point, now that the Don't Blink people have gotten to the cabin and they found out the people aren't there, when the Langoliers people wake up in the airplane and all the people are missing, when when Phantoms, when the sisters get to the town and everyone's missing. That's when we throw it over to the storytellers, and we're there and we're in, and we go, all right, show us something new. This show decides to take us off to a town. They get off the boat, they go to a town, they get there, there's no one there, as expected. And there's like 45 minutes left at that point. And they just kind of walk around the town.
Yeah.
And one of them is sick. And that's really all that happens. There's nothing that happens in this 45 minutes that creates any more intrigue, that lends itself to this new idea, to this story, to evolve it, to add something new. There's nothing going on from here to here. And when it ends, you go, oh. But that was it? And then the credits roll over something and you're like, oh. So, okay. What was the point?
Yeah, I think that this movie is a good example where they're not giving the viewers enough information to go off of, because there's something happening for sure, and you can kind of, but I feel like you have to do too much work to fill in the blanks to really make it like, creepy. And like you said, there's like 45 minutes where, there's not a whole lot going on. I think that the atmosphere was really great. And the acting was all awesome too. They did a good job, as far as I'm concerned. But I definitely lost interest in this like second half of the film, where nothing changed really aside from what we had already known to be happening. I had a lot of questions, like, well, not really a lot, I guess, but just like kind of that one question that I kept asking you, and you asked me as well. And we didn't really get a definitive answer to it.
No, but I mean,
so.
I didn't feel like there was anything in this film that I needed to know, because anything that is vague, I'm fine with being vague. Mm-hmm. It's about what happens in between this juncture, right? This part of the film where it goes off and where is everybody? Now what do we do? Right? After adds this like darkness that's surrounding the town, and they have to go out into that darkness to find a key to open up a door. There's something going on there, right? The Langoliers, they have to figure out how the hell to get out of this airport once they're there, because the Langoliers are coming for them. In Phantoms, this entity is stalking them all over town, and they're having to run from point A to point B as the military's coming in, and they're trying to stop them. And we know what the purpose of the Phantom is in the end, and what they want and all of their desires. In this, there's nothing driving them forward anymore. They have the mystery. They set up the intrigue and the mystery, but there's no driving force from there. There's no like danger. There's no like, really, it's what is their goal? Their goal was to come to this town. They find no one's there. Okay, now what's the goal? The goal's to leave that town and go to try to find another town, right? Try to get back. Like, what's the point? And that is what it is. It's we get here, there's no one. Then, okay, we need to leave. Then fucking leave. There's nothing keeping you there. You're not finding new things that are intriguing to you that you're trying to investigate. You're not finding clues. Nothing fucking happens. Mm-hmm. They're just walking around the town. There's no one here. And it's not even like they come across a lot of cool things that leave a lot of like mystery to them. Like, ooh, why is this like this? That's abnormal. Ooh, okay, there's things here. Ooh, there's like some body they found or something that adds to it. There's nothing. And then we also have this question of like why they survived. We know why, but we don't really. I think they're trying to have some kind of like they're trying to say something about the environment, I think. Is what the message of the film is.
But what you were saying earlier, that's kind of what I was meaning about like having more like nuggets of mystery and intrigue in that second half. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be like more action or anything, just having those smaller like connecting bits to the larger, plot and what's happening would have been really nice and way better than what we got.
See, here's a perfect example. So, and this is the kind of stuff that this film was missing. In The Langoliers, when they get to the airport and they go, like when they're outside, they talk about how there's the sound that's coming off of them is hollow. That there's something happening to the sound around them, that it's dying out around them, that everything just doesn't sound right. Then they get inside and they eat the food, and the food is tasteless. It has no flavor to it. There's small mysteries going on that go, what the fuck is happening here?
Exactly.
And then you add to that, same thing with Phantoms. They go into these areas and they find this bathroom door locked with, on the other side of it is a windowless room, and you have to lock it from the inside. Who the hell did it? And then you have all of the jewelry that's everywhere. That happens in the Langoliers. It also happens in the Phantoms, except for in Phantoms it's all contained to one bed. In the Langoliers it's all spread around the plane. And you can fill those blanks and you'd be like, oh, everyone disappeared and all the things fell out of them as they did. That's all super interesting. So you take new things, you take new ideas and you insert them here. There's no new ideas being presented to this subgenre here. If you watch a movie like Radius, like we did, where the very beginning is kind of a where is everybody, man, do they add a whole new twist.
A ton, yeah.
Right? This is a completely new idea to this subgenre that is I've never seen done before in any movie. Right? So
Wonderful.
this is just a failure to me because there's nothing going on once we get to that point where it's time for them to provide something new to us.
Yeah.
And that's just, it's a shame because I was along for the ride.
Yeah.
I was really into where we were setting it up because I know the formula. I know the triangle, Triangle, the movie where they go to the boat and they get there. And there's another perfect example.
Yeah.
Triangle, they get to the boat, and then once they get on the boat, there's somebody in a mask killing everybody, and they find all these different bodies, and you're like, what? Oh shit, what does that mean? And
And
then when you figure it out, when the reveals happen, it's like, it's so cool. This one, like, nothing happens, and then something kind of happens small, and then you go, oh, and then it's just like credits, and you're like, oh.
It was very lackluster.
Extremely.
The ending, so it's kind of a shame because we love the Where Is Everybody movies, but
oh my god, I love them.
yeah.
People know immediately to come to my channel and tell me
it's
about
a great
them
genre, yeah.
because they know that I love them and how rare they are. They don't get made very often. And I've really enjoyed almost every one of them I've ever watched outside of The Vanishing on 7th Street, which we rewatched. But outside of that, I either like or love like everyone I've ever watched. And unfortunately, this is going to go side by side with The Vanishing on 7th Street, where it's just a total waste
Just
to
a
me.
flop, yeah.
Just didn't, lackluster is the perfect word. So, not a recommendation from me. It's a shame because I'm your target audience. I am the person who's going to rave about this. And I'm not here to rave about it. And that's a shame. Because I don't like disliking movies. And I don't like trashing movies. And I'm not even trashing this movie. Because it's not like I'm sitting here saying the direction was bad. Because this looked great.
Yeah.
Like it had beautiful shots. Like the scenery, all that. The production value was nice. It wasn't super high or anything. It didn't feel like some big budget movie.
No, but it was good.
But
And
man, it had
like I
some
said, the
beautiful
atmosphere.
shots, and it had some, it had some building some atmosphere, but it just fizzled out along the way because it's so repetitive once they get to town.
Yeah.
It's kind of just like, where are you going now? What's the plan here? What are you guys doing? And then when they find some things out, nothing really comes of it. Like once they find out what's happening to a degree, there's nothing really happens from that. It's kind of like, oh, that happened. All right, back to what we were doing before.
Pretty much.
What? No.
Yeah.
Like now you know what's going on, so now that needs to elevate things. We need to ramp things up. We're heading towards the end. Let's have the climax. That's the point of the film. It doesn't have to be chaos. It doesn't have to be action packed. It doesn't have to be a thrill a minute by any means. I'm somebody who fucking loves all sorts of slow burn films. But they're films with amazing character development. They're films with great things to say. They're things that they build upon their story, that they deliver on the things that they're trying to set out to. Anyways, I'm done.